Did you know there are over 71 different ways that you can learn? Well, if you did not know it, you are in it for a ride. Buckle up as we fly through this process. Hi, pilots and aviation lovers. Welcome to our channel where we motivate and inspire future aviators. My name is Kanu and you are watching Nima Pilot, the Pride of Liberia. Alright guys, thank you for watching again. Today we are on Tax B of the FOI, Fundamental of Instruction. Our topic today is the learning process. If you have not yet watched Tax A, we encourage you to go back and watch Tax A. This is a whole series, and we are going through the PTS for flight instructors. And if this is your first time on this channel, we'd like to welcome you. Please consider subscribing and hit the notification bell so you will be notified when we upload new videos. So let's get to it. What is learning, you may ask? There are a lot of different definitions out there, and the FAA gave us some good definition in the Aviation Instructor's Handbook. But I'm going to give you guys two. The first one, which you may be familiar with, is learning is the process of acquiring knowledge or skill through teaching, experience, or studying. Well, we go to school to learn. We teach also to learn. Okay, you can learn through experience, right? And the other definition is that learning is the change in the learner behavior as a result of experience. Okay, you would tell this person, do this, 1 + 1 is 2, 1 + 1 is 2, unless that person changes their behavior, their mindset into say, yes, 1 + 1 is 2. Learning has not occurred. But if he changes his or her behavior and come to realize that 1 + 1 is 2, then learning has occurred. Now we know the definition of learning. Let's get to the PTS. Now the first thing on the list is the learning theory. We have two learning theories. The first one is the behavioralism. Behavioralism is focused on what? Punishment or reward. Remember, I'm pretty sure you have heard your parents saying, hey, when you do your choice, you're going to get a good reward. When you get a good grade in school, you're going to get a good reward. But what happens if you don't meet their expectation? If you don't have good grade in school, you get punished, right? If you don't do your homework, you get whipping, right? So that is what behavioralism is centered around. Reward or punishment. So the next theory is called cognitive theory. Cognitive theory focuses on problem solving, how the brains work. Okay, so when it comes to aviation, we want to keep part of the behavioralism, which is the reward. Okay, part of it. You want to praise your student when they are doing good. You want to encourage them by, patting them on the back when they are progressing. For example, your student do their first solo flight. Okay, traditionally sometimes we spill a bucket of water on them, or we cut their uniform or the shirt they were in when they do their solo, right? So when you cut their shirt, you could put the aircraft number, they did the student solo, and sign it, and frame it and give it to the student. When you frame it and give it to the student, that will encourage the student to learn, right? That will motivate them to progress even more in their flight training. So that's the part of the behavioralism we want to keep emerging in with cognitive theory. Now, the next thing on that list is perception and insight. Perception. We learn through perception, right? How do we accomplish that? Remember, both of our definitions stated, or we mentioned in both of our definitions that learning occurred as a result of experience. Our perception becomes our experience, and we learn from what? Our experience, right? Let's say take two people from different walks of life. Let's say, for example, one from Africa, one from America. Put a bicycle in front of them. Ask them, how do they perceive this bicycle? How, when they look at this bicycle, what do they think of this bicycle? The one from the United States will say what? Will perceive bicycle as a method of what? Exercising, right? There's another way for exercise, but the person from Africa will take this as a method of transportation. So it's this one bicycle. People from two different areas, they perceive that one thing different way. So as we'll soon get to it, there are things that affect your learning. There are things that affect your perception, because if your perception is affected, your learning is affected. What are those things that affect your perception? The first thing that we will see is the physical organism. What do we mean by physical organism? Remember I said we perceive via what? Seeing, hearing, tasting. Do you know 75% of what you learn is through sight, seeing? So when we talk about physical organism, if the person has a bad eyesight, you have taken 75% of how they learn away from them, right? 13% of what we learn from hearing. So if you see someone who doesn't hear or see, you have taken pretty much 85% of their, is that 85 or 90? 90% of the way they learn, right? So the physical organism will affect your perception, and also goals and values. Let's take two students. One came in just to have the experience of flying, just the one-time thing, that we call introductory flight, right? And the other student came to work on their private pilot certificate. And you took both of them up, right? And you telling them about steep turn, how the aircraft generate lift. Do you think the person who is there just to gain the experience for the introductory flight will really be listening to you? No, because his goal for that day, the value of their whole flight was to gain the experience of flying in small aircraft. That's all he's there for. But the other student will be open to listening to you, right? Will be open to learning what you're teaching them. So your goals and values also affect a person's perception. The next one is self-concept, confident. Point blank, a student who is scared to fly will not learn. If you're scared of flight, you will not learn, because when it comes to the flying portion, man, your anxiety level will go through the roof. Your stress level will go through the roof, and those things will affect your perception. Okay, when you're up there teaching them how to do steep turn or stall, their whole focus will be how they are going to get back on the ground. So if you are scared of flying, you're going to not learn how to fly. So self-confidence, self-concept, terms and opportunity. For example, if you want to learn about airport operation, what are you doing hanging out in the automobile mechanic shop? What are you going to learn from these people or from their group that will help you learn airport operation? Instead, put yourself into their opportunity, into their environment that will help you learn about what you want to learn. You hang out at the airport, you'll be able to talk to pilots who are coming to the airport. You'll be able to talk to airport manager, and you'll be able to learn about airport operation. times and opportunity could affect also your perception, which your experience comes from perception, and you learn from your experience. So when your perception is affected, your learning is affected. And the next one is element of threat. Okay, element of threat. And that will also be like, let's say we are flying and the student feels like the aircraft is not safe enough to go do their flying. His whole attention will be on the fact that he thinks the aircraft is not fit enough for training. So that will take his mind, his focus on what he's supposed to be learning. So time, element of threat also affect your perception. Now let's go to the third thing on the list, which is acquiring knowledge. How do we gain knowledge? Okay, how do we acquire knowledge? 3 ways. Doesn't matter what field are you in. It's 3 ways. First, you memorize. Now you will understand. And then you will use what is called concept learning to even further your understanding. Let's give an example. You have a 3-year-old child who is learning how to say the alphabet, their ABC, right? You're teaching them ABC, or they're watching ABC on TV. They memorize it, right? They can say that, they can sing their A, B, C, D, E, F. They can sing all their song, but ask them to write ABC. They won't understand. They won't be able to write ABC. Now, write ABC and tell them and point at letters. They won't be able to recognize it. All they did was memorizing it. Okay? We bring that into aviation and put a student. A student first follow. Okay? All they do is memorize. They memorize their SP. They memorize their pattern, attitude, SP. They memorize the checklist. Do they fully understand why the numbers are in there for? No, we don't really understand. All they know is that on short final, I should be at 65. Okay? When I come in, I should be able to flare and hold the nose up. All they know is press on the right rudder. Pressing on the right rudder will keep you center line. But do they understand why you're telling them to press the right rudder? Why you're telling them to be on center line, 70 knots on final? No. But as they progresses in their training, they will start to what? Come to the second step, which is understanding. Understanding is knowing the why behind what you're doing. Okay, now they will know, oh yes, I'm pressing right rudder for 2 things. The wind, if there is wind, the turning tendency, so that I'll be able to keep my yaw, my directional control. Now they understand why we're coming in 70 knots on short final, why we putting in flaps. They start understanding. And now they'll move to, as they progress, they will move to the 3rd stage, which is concept learning. Well, I learned about slow flight. I can use that same concept to come in and flare. Okay, I can combine my slow flight concept and my learning concept to what? To fully understand why we do slow flight in the first place. Okay, that is the 3 way we acquire knowledge. The next thing on here is the laws of learning. The laws of learning. Okay, there are a couple of things listed here that before you learn, those are the rules you need to follow. Okay, it's the laws of learning. What is the first thing on that list? Is readiness. Dude, if you are not ready to learn, you will not learn, right? If you come to flight training and you have so much on your mind, family issue, personal issue, if you have so much on your mind, you will not be focused. And because you're not focused, you won't learn. So readiness, you have to be ready in order to learn, right? And the next thing too on there is exercise. Create time and time to be able to learn. The more you exercise, the more you do, the more you get better at it, right? The more you do, the more you get better at it. So exercise. You can't just come and fly once every month and think you're going to get better at your landing or your steep turn. Okay, you have to create time so that you will come at least fly twice or 3 times a week. The more you practice again, the better you get at what you are practicing. The effect. Instructor needs to know that this student comes to you for a reason. There's a reason behind why they're flying. They're learning how to fly. So what you're teaching them, they'll be more perceptive to what you're teaching them based on the effect, the importance of, or how is what you're teaching them is affecting their career or their daily life. Okay, if the person is pre-solo, why are you teaching them Chandel? How are they going to use that to get a private pilot certificate? We got to be watchful of that. Don't go teaching the student how to do flip and this and that when they are there just to learn straight and level flying. They're not there to learn acrobatic or flying, okay? And that will not help them get their private pilot certificate. The effect of what you're teaching them, primacy. Wow, the law of primacy. This is very good. The law of primacy states that the first way you learn how to do things, that is the way that will be stuck with you for the rest of your life. Okay, and it will be very difficult to kind of like deviate from it. Remember, the Bible said, train up a child in the way he should grow. When he is old, he will not depart from it, right? Instructor, you need to be watchful of how you teach your student when they come to you, okay? If an instructor is teaching a student and he doesn't stress on using the checklist, the student get used to that, not using the checklist properly. That will be stuck with him there, and that will be very difficult to train him out of it when he goes to another instructor who stresses on using the checklist. So the first way you teach your student how to do maneuver, that thing was to get stuck with them, and if it is a bad habit, it will be very difficult to get rid of that bad habit. Okay, intensity. How realistic is what you're teaching them? Okay, we teach students power on and power off stall. Okay, and the reason we teach them power on and power off stall is to make them aware of the danger of taking off with a slow airspeed and how the aircraft behave when the aircraft is ready coming to a stall, right? The intensity, how would they apply this? How is this thing going to apply to their day-to-day life, right? And the next one is recency. A lot of recency state that things you just learned you will remember the most, right? Again, we can merge it in with exercise, right? The more you exercise, the more you do, you get better at it. It's like you took your student up and that student fly only one time a month, and you guys practice steep turn. For his next flight when he comes, do you think he's going to remember the process and do you think you're going to remember how to do the steep turn? No, because what you just practice, recency, the most recent thing you practice, you're going to remember it the most.